Going live in 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome to the first online stream for Lab Metal. Today I have with me here Patrick from Lab Metal, and we have our special guest Anthony Kaoteon. We're gonna be watching the Red Experiment as the new album by Death Tribe. We're going to be commenting on the tracks. We're going to be discussing the visual, the audio, the lyrics. And we're going to have some questions for Anthony. And we're going to go straight ahead and start with the first track.
I'm thinking that I'm the last. They can't be real. A forgotten reflection. It could be you.
So that was the first track. That was the first track. That was Blacked Out. So before I say what I have to say, Patrick, what do you think?
It's a great opener. I mean, come on, it's like an adrenaline rush. The lyrics really say, like, they describe the song. I love the drumming. The chorus is really nice. It's different from, the rock and roll vibe that the main riff has. But yeah, that drumming is, to me, the spirit of that song. And I really love the vocals. I mean, it's kind of, it's raw. It's very raw. It's not it's following some weird, let's say, phrasing sometimes. And yeah, the lyrics are, let's say, for me, as they are a bit weird, but in general, I love the song.
Well, if I wanted to comment on the lyrics, for me it feels like living without a purpose, but only chasing those thrills, chasing this momentary joy. But it shows like someone who's lost, right? Is like on the endless road, doesn't know where he's going. And this is maybe what I can ask Anthony. And like the music, for me, as you said, I have nothing to add. The concept is interesting, but I want to know what Anthony wanted to portray in this track. What was the message in this, Anthony?
First of all, thank you for having me here and for having this watch party. Second of all, thanks for everyone who joined us on such a short notice, but I think they can rewatch this. The purpose of the movie is not to pinpoint the message that I wanted to put out there, but rather let the listener and the watcher decide how they interpret it in their own journey. But I think there are common things in this lifetime, more or less, that are super common between most generations and most nationalities, and especially at the beginning of life when you are seeking the thrill of life, trying to search for the meaning of it, trying to do it your own way, taking risks, doing things that in areas are illegal and others are not. And you can take it to extremes, but there are as well messages passing behind the van about how we treat our earth and we treat our freedoms, and how much do we push boundaries, because the more we are allowed to do things, the more we abuse everything that we have. So I will leave it at that. I don't want to burn it, but to keep it short, it's the journey of a young person, as you can see, that is going and seeking to find the meaning of life. There is one little thing that I would like to point out, maybe on when you are going back, is the picture in the van. Check that out. That's the picture of my own family. So that's something people wouldn't know. So yeah, quite personal, but a lot of things in that video are personal, have special meanings for me, but I would like people to think of it on their own. You passed it. Yeah, it's here. It shows a couple of times, but you don't need to rewatch the whole video. But it does pass a couple of times in the video.
So very personal, very...
you are on mute.
So very personal, very intimate, and in some sense, in a hidden way.
Yeah. A lot of the experiences were lived. Yeah, I could say that I can tell locations behind every scene, but it's not the purpose that I tell my story only. It's the story of whoever is watching to relate to it.
I see. Yeah. So you wanted somehow you have it as your own experience, but at the same time meant for everyone else to experience it their own way.
Exactly. Anyone who doesn't live a half life and they are trying to find live a full life. So I think they pass through these periods, in my opinion. So don't live if you want a message, don't live a life half-lived. Try to live a full life.
Full life. Okay, we'll move to the next track. I think that was the first track you released. Thawra, with the one that has a bit of Arabic in it in the singing. And one of my favorites. Brings a lot of emotions. So let's go. Then we talk at the end of it. So that was Saura. Saura meaning revolution. That's the second track on the album. I'll let Patrick speak first. I guess he had a lot to say on this.
Yeah, what a track. I mean, this topic is close to us, Lebanese people. I mean, you can feel the raw emotions. And Anthony singing, I mean, I was surprised, positively surprised. I mean, I wish he sings more. You can really feel the raw emotions from his voice, from his delivery. I love the Arabic vocal, the Arabic lines as well. This is like, so far, amazing, to be honest. This is a great song. A lot more complicated in the rhythm section as well. I love that.
Yeah, for me, I'm impressed with the drums, but we know who's behind the drums, so that wasn't much of a surprise. At the same time, the bass lines, I really like how thick they sound and supported by the sympho sound, like big sound. And when it comes to vocals, you would agree, but also it gave this kind of special tone, like Anthony feels exactly what he's saying, you know, because he's part of this, right? The Saura, what's happening in Lebanon, and there's sort of like beyond anger. It's beyond anger at the end, the tone in the voice. I really love this track. On the visual, Anthony, we see the picture again of your family here, but we see it at a different phase with the main character in the story. What phase is he in here? Because it seems like he gave up.
Yeah, there's no giving up in the sense of giving up, but that's the truth of the matter, right? I will give out some things in this video, not to interpret it, but just for people to notice. There are the three celestial religions represented in this video, and they appear back and forth, which are the cause of most of our troubles in most of the regions of the world, but definitely in the Middle East. We have a struggle that has been going on for so long, and it's tearing us apart while we are all trying to seek the same thing, which is peace. The second thing is the transfer and the switch between the first song, which doesn't connect really with the second song, but the process was that you are living a life, minding your own business, doing sinful pleasures that everybody does, you know, like drugs, drinking, doing sexual pleasures, even if you want to shoot someone just to see them die. You are doing things that are normal, but then while you are having a good time one night on Netflix, you have an explosion next to your house. And this has happened repeatedly in my youth, living in Beirut, always shattered, houses shattered, but this time it was even more because it was at the heart of Beirut, just 500 meters away from my family house. And you see their eyes popping up in blood because I was blacked out for a certain period of time. I was on a vacation in Austria with my wife, and we couldn't reach our family. And I thought that they are gone, right? We all go into these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear from them, but the house is cracked and the windows are flying, but they are alive. So the human mind start processing this shit and tells you, at least they are alive, at least things are fine. It could have been worse. They could have been in a coffin.
Yeah.
So yeah, and other elements you can see when there's a finger pushing temples, or a black rock representing one religion, or a chandelier representing another. That's actually, in my mind, the invisible hand that is playing with us as chess, and we are just like casualties, commodities, moving parts. This is the game where you are vessels, and they are like, you play the game. Remember that game when you had to shoot the ship and find it on the map?
Yeah, so there's a manipulator.
Yeah, and then the other one is a chess, and that idea actually came out by Nicola from Donican Films in Argentina, on how we are manipulated, because Argentina as well faces a lot of the problems that we face in our region, not to the extent religiously, but economically and politically, and economic meltdowns and oppression. So it was great working with the two brothers from Donican Films, because they related to a lot of the stories. But here you can see that they are moving the worship place that they hide behind to shoot a missile into another place, and this is like we are being played and manipulated, so that until when? And I hope that we can inspire at least one generation or one person to think about what's happening in our world and how we are being manipulated and why are we really stuck in this rut, instead of I hope people will revolt, but not only revolt in the streets and breaking things, revolt intellectually, and go above and beyond these blinding games and conspiracies.
This scene here exactly, like, for me, means it's the blame game, right? That we always hear also, that this one blames the other and this one blames the other. These are the fingers of blame, right? Nobody takes the responsibility and makes the change.
Exactly. And you can see from the clothing that they are from three separate parties, that they are pointing the fingers to one another. And we don't care who's behind it. We don't care who's to blame, but we care that this shit shouldn't happen to a normal person living a normal life. So, that's it. And this is actually the explosion. And then you see a face in the explosion. And this is, again, one other thing that people don't know, but this is a real, true victim in the explosion. This is Shadi Rizq, whose face was like a horror story when you look at it. But I wanted to commemorate that because Shadi, he might not be one of my closest friends, but I knew Shadi. We had fun, we had drinks, we enjoyed each other's company. And then you see Shadi or Bashir Ramadan, the drummer, being scarred to pieces and physically. It's really tough. It's just a full weight that a normal human being should not be dealing with. So try to put all that in a package to deliver it in our own way. Yeah, it's here somewhere, before or after, I'm not sure. This is the explosion in Lebanon. These are the revolution
of the people.
Yeah. And then you have Shadi somewhere
around here. In those seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, exactly. This is right? Shadi. Yeah.
Okay, so again, there's something that you've experienced personally, but this also, anyone who heard about what happened can also, connect with this story. And the general revolution, as you said, Argentina is another country where this is something the people feel in need. Let's move to the third track. This one is Shavuot, which I think it's a Dutch word, right?
It's not Shavuot, it's a Schaavout.
Pronunciation trick.
It's Schaavout. I know that you live in Germany, so I thought you will get that. Actually, the vocalist for that track is in the chat. He's Terry, and he's a monster of a vocalist with a great range. And I wrote all the lyrics for all the album and even the how it is sung and everything. But of course, this song has some Dutch, and Terry wanted to express his own in his own words, because we discussed the concept, we discussed what it should be about, how are we going to make it happen and move into different topics. But this is one of the tracks that I let go because I felt that he has what it needs to make it happen, and he delivered even above expectations. So chapeau bas to Terry. Thanks a lot for this amazing delivery.
Okay, so let's go for a listen. The word means the crook, the prankster, the rascal. Let's listen.
I love the homeland, but it will never leave me. This weight I bear will never set me free.
Isn't that riff awesome?
This one takes a very different directions, it seems. Let's talk about the music first. Patrick, what do you think?
This one is the most extreme so far. The blast beats, the violin, it gave it this kind of avant-garde feel. I think it reminds me a bit of Ihsan work, or maybe the old Leprous when they weren't so prog metal. They used to play more avant-garde-ish and experiment with this kind of, let's say, tones and layers and stuff. I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And the vocals as well. Terry's in the chat. I liked it a lot.
So I definitely agree. It has a different feel than the previous one, a different tone. This one goes a bit into more of mysticism in some way, and more to the instinct, back to the instinct. So we start with the apex predator. I think we're talking about the human. The humans are the apex predator. The killers, they're the worst. Even the wild bear is nothing, and the wild bear itself is just a toy. They just kill him, maul him like the bear. So they're even more dangerous than the bear itself. That's how I got it. I saw there's the rose that was on the tent. I couldn't really understand it. Maybe I'm gonna watch it more than once to see what means to me, like the symbolism. I saw a ticket that the kid gets with the number 013. Maybe Anthony can tell us for you what does the number, does it have a certain meaning itself?
Let's leave that for interpretation. There are so many things in this track that are symbolic, and definitely it's a journey, but we had to compile the journey in 36 minutes and a half. So we wanted to stress on the moments that make us who we are. And yes, here we are talking about instinct, and we are talking about how greedy we are, and we don't respect nature, we don't respect power, we don't respect our brains that allow us to abuse this power. So we use it until it's depleted, and we create these unnecessary pleasures, although we have abundancy of other things that we can please our mind and instincts with, but we choose the easy way. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes us weak, in my opinion. We have everything that we need to be the most powerful species, but then we use it in a way where we abuse rather than evolve, where we train rather than enrich. And that's what I would like to say about this track. But yeah, in the details of it, there is a lot of meanings. So if we go, every frame is trying to depict something, from the father to the son, to the big bear to the small bear, from the circus player to the what they are giving, from the authority figure that shows in Thawra as well, to that, and will show in other video clips. Or music videos. So it's a rather interesting bridge between chapter number 2, which is evolution, and chapter number 3, where you start numbing your head with earthly pleasures to be able to go over and beyond your PTSD, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you start oppressing others so that you live and go be like overcome your own pain. So you enforce pain on others to, escape your own.
So it's kind of it's a sick reaction, right? It's you have a problem and you're dealing with it by creating another problem and by doing worst. You suffered and you're doing worst by dealing with it.
Yeah, and if you observe the world, it's more or less like this.
Mm.
Instead of dealing with the problem, we create another problem just because we don't want a solution. We just want to escape. We just want to win. We just to be like, we want to obliterate the other and just say that we have the final say. And if you from the smallest fight in the world to the biggest war in the world, it's more about that. Who has the final will.
That's true. One equation that rules things. Let's go to the next track. This one should be Let There Be No Man.
I continue this dream. These dreams, all so different, yet all with the same ending.
So that was Let There Be No Man. So before I talk about the visuals, I'll let Patrick talk about the music.
Just before we talk about the music, I mean, I love the storytelling before the songs. I mean, I wish there was more of that. It really sets the mood. But in the song, I really noticed the lyrics. I mean, why can't we lift our brain power collectively? It's just being sang, you know, and growled. It feels like, okay, this is new. I mean, usually you don't get these kind of, let's say, smart lyrics. It's very, quite nicely, let's say, phrased, and also the phrasing of other lyrics in this the song is quite nice. And this groove, just that metal groove, I mean, it's really nice mood.
Yeah, for the tone, the theme, yes, it's again a different direction, and as you said, the way words are chosen, right, to state things. But visually, there's a lot going back to the ancient time, going back to the early times of men, and I think what I saw first was an eye of a camel. I think this is how the camel eye looks like. So we're in the desert. We're at the time of creation. I think the character is the creator. I'm not going to call him God. Let's call him the creator. We quickly see the Tower of Babel, the defiance of God, the defiance of the creator. We see maybe what we call Habil and Cain, the two brothers who fought from early time, and one brother killed the other brother. So humankind is fighting since dawn, since the beginning. And that's where we get to why can't we just work together? Why can't we just, evolve together? And this fighting always keeps us back. That's how I see it. We see the king with all his harem and that lust, that human nature, back to the instincts of human. Besides the killing, we see those selfishness, greed, lust. But at the same time, we move back a bit to religion. We see inverted crosses. And the moment I see an inverted cross, which is ancient torture device, we see another torture device, and we see a captive queen, and we see, so there's this chaos of human nature, and there is the story of our relation to our creator. It's in a very nice way put. Also very, very dense content, lyrically and visually, and you really need to watch it more than once, and every time you'll see something new, and it will add more to the lyrics. Very good track. I really enjoy it. Maybe I can ask Anthony just to confirm. What is the meaning of the eye the moment it opens?
I'm quite surprised by a lot of elements that you noticed. I don't know how many times you watched this, but it is yes. You go back. And then this character appears, whether that is the eye of a camel or the eye of anything else. Again, I said at the beginning, I will not comment on the interpretation, because that's the beauty of it, right? It's our beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But definitely, we go back to the ancient times, and we go back to the beginning of time. And this character, we named him Ente. And Ente is ENTE for entity. And he is actually shouting out, I've seen so many cities fall. If you go back into the history of mankind, it's all built around wars and civilizations winning and destroying other civilizations so that they claim the throne. So he's seen so many cities fall countless times before his eyes. And then the song says at a place, I fill the flesh with a soul, because we are reliving history again and again. Yes, technology is advancing. The only changing thing, the only changing factor, equation, whatever you want to call variable, the only changing variable in this equation is actually technology and the tools that you are using. But you see that countless cities are falling. again and again, civilizations are growing, others are being in demise. You see that the human, whether you give it another name, I'm not going to put names now, but you give a conqueror a name, and then you see the victims being treated. We have some points in history that are really remembered, and of civilizations that were tortured, whether it is the Christians against the Romans or the Jews from Hitler, or in our own closed society, the Palestinians from the Israelis, or the Lebanese from each other, or from other countries. So we don't want to go very political, but at the end of the day, you can see this happening over and over and over. So I fill the flesh with a soul till I'm buried again to the ground, and then I resurrect and I do the same thing, and I resurrect and I do the same thing in a different shape or form. But every time, the deeper the fall, the harder the comeback. And this is what's happening, because previously we used to do something that is localized, that is regional, that is in a certain place. But then now we are doing greater and greater damage. At a certain point, we had nuclear weapons, but it's all dormant now until it explodes again. And now the huge, most non-nuclear weapon that we are doing is what we are doing to this planet at the same time, because look what's happening in terms of flooding, in terms of deforestation, in terms of all these things that don't show in this video in particular, but they will show. But this is why it says, what do you expect from species cursed with logic they fail to use, following their guts and emotions, an instinct that is certain to lose? What is the difference between us and them? We follow our instinct and not rationale, a self-destructing breed, the end of human seed. And here you are comparing yourself to different species that we think they don't think, but they think better than us because they take care of each other. They only kill to eat. And this is it. Like, I don't want to abuse the time because there is time limit on this, but it has so many meanings. I love these lyrics. I wrote these lyrics and they are very dear to my heart. And thank you for noticing that I tried to say, like, why can't we lift our brain power collectively? Why can't we build a world of harmony? Because we are very weak. Again, fear controls the heart of the weak. We are afraid to work together because we want the biggest piece of the pie. So fear controls the heart of the weak. It wears them down before they reach their peak. The deeper the fall, the harder the comeback. A city with no ambition is flesh with no soul. So it's all about who we are, our instinct, our lust, our gluttony, our greed, and how we cannot work together to really stand as one species, just like other species that stand together to build big hordes. We don't do that. We just split each other. And then it goes at the end, and it ends with it's just cursing. Anti is cursing this species, and it's saying, like, if you are helpless and you are not helping each other. So he goes insane. He says, I'm cutting my flesh to escape. I don't want this body no more. I'm cutting my brains out. I don't want to think no more. Let the earth swallow the ground. Let the rivers flood everything around. Let the volcanoes erupt their lava until the world is burning flames. Let the planet take back its claim, because we are here as visitors. There was before us and there will be after us, but we are not respecting the time that we got. This really small formula of science that allowed us to live on this planet that is temporary, and we are abusing it and shortening it. And let there be no sign of this human shame. Let us rot in hell and with no pride in vain. Thank you.
So this is the extreme version of the Noah's flood, right? But this time there's no Noah. Just let the flood take them. Let's just reset, get all gone, start new.
Yeah, I'm playing Noah this time.
Okay, let's move to the next track, Making a Murder.
while you are listening, this is a woman singing.
So, that was Making a Murder. Let Patrick again talk about the music, then I'll add a bit of what I have.
I was gonna say I can hear an Arc Enemy influence, but then yeah, you said it's a female vocalist. But it definitely continues from the last track. It's the same kind of extreme, constant, running beats, like we can say death and roll. So this is I saw it in a Metal Hammer piece that they wrote on the album as well. It's really nice. I like it. It really differs from the previous songs. I mean, just we have two of these songs now in a row that are kind of the same, symphonic death metal with kind of this fast, also thrashy beats. So I like that. And I'm gonna see also where it takes us. If it's gonna stay in this mood, or it's gonna also change to something more progressive, or also more avant-garde with the violence. So yeah, it's really nice at this point.
Well, on the music, I don't know. I found the melody of the violin, the closing melody, kind of creepy. It's happy and weird at the same time. It's a creepy kind of violin tone. Musically, I don't have much to add. Visually, the track starts, for me, it's time. There's a lot of time flow in it. There's a lot of things with time. It starts, I think I saw 37 years. That probably has to be Anthony's age, I guess. And connected somewhere. I saw the kind of a reference of Michelangelo's God reaching to the human, to the man. But here we see like the old person reaching to his young form, I think. There's a lot of work with the animator, with the hands, with the fingers, with the touching, with the... There's a lot of handsy work. That's interesting. And again here I see like strange pupils. So the lady we saw had a pupil that has a cat pupil style eye, and then we go to another pupil focused in, right, zoomed in to a very wide, large pupil. There's a desire there in that scene. Again, there's a lot to break down and visually, but it adds to a lot to the lyrics and the sound. One last thing, I think I saw the kid who was shooting in the previous track, this time taking a piss next to the tent. So was that the kid, Anthony?
It was. Good observation. No, so a lot of what has been said is nice, because you feel that you did the film justice, and you did the music justice in the sense of we are able to deliver what we were thinking. First of all, we haven't mentioned the violin, and yes, in this time period, it's at the peak of the extremity of the album, and you see that there's a lot of elements. And I don't work on music, I've never worked on music, whether with Kaoteon, my other band, or with Death Tribe, to sound right or to sound a certain way, or here I should put a break, or there I should put something. I work with it with a flow. So when I compose, I like to feel it. I like to feel the rawness. And in this album, I worked on a concept. So I wanted it to start with blacked out, groovy, happy, I will say the wrong word, skater kind of music. But then it goes into extremity, because you are facing a revolution, explosions, you are going into the apex predator, and then you become this person that is supposed to be at 33 years old, like you're reaching your full self, but then you've passed into all these experiences, and you have traumas. And then I pity murderers, but they are the problem of society, not the other way around. The society doesn't suffer for murderers. Murderers suffered from society.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that murderers should be free, but I'm saying we are creating a society that messes with your brain to the point of no return, and then you start making things that are wrong in our social conduct. And this woman, you see, yes, she's looking back into her younger self, and this is where she has become, right? She's over-consuming, she has seen a lot, and she feels that there is blood on our hands, right? And even if we didn't participate in any war, but we are watching and turning the blind eye, even if we are not talking about the right issues, even if we are not voicing out our opinion for the voiceless, even if we are trying to, the smallest thing, even if we are over-consuming one certain pleasure, whether it is clothing or food, just for our own pleasure, but we are abusing the resource, then we are guilty. And we look the other way. So children grow smiling, but before discovering the truth that resources are plenty, but in the hands of the few. Mm-hmm. And these are the lyrics, right? Like, I'm just speaking the truth. The lyrics were not like I sat down, I wanted to write poetry. I just wanted to write the truth. And I'm writing history more than lyrics. I was trying to say, like, we created the perfect laboratory to give birth to a murderer, because it is true. Any Lebanese that goes out sane of Lebanon, it's a miracle. Not only Lebanon. Let's talk about Palestinians. Palestinians were born with someone putting their hand on their neck. Let's talk about Israelis. Israelis were born thinking that they have the right and they have the privilege to take over the land because they were brainwashed. I'm not saying that one or the other is wrong. These are very sensitive topics that we can be misunderstood in so many ways. Mm-hmm. But I don't care anymore at this period in time. I'm saying the world is in a messed up place. Let's talk about Latin America. Let's talk about South America. Let's talk about the United States, the perfect country in the world, the most powerful place in the world where you have guns and everything. Our racism is really put down in our hearts. All I'm saying is that any certain type of oppression and suppression creates a more oppression and oppression. So let's fight fire with fire, Metallica shouts. It's the most stupid sentence that you can say, because at the end of the day, brother is killing brother, what Megadeth says. Because we are fighting fire with fire, you should fight fire with peace. You cannot fight fire with fire. You just create more fire.
Brings
So
more
that's
fire.
the whole idea. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's this is how we plant the seeds. Then it says, in fragile, innocent minds, seeds of vengeance and aggression, a bomb that will explode in time. Why fight death when you had no desire to live? I stop here. I love this sentence because most people don't want to live. Most people are just trying to live another life. They're trying to copy another life. No, very few people are leading their own path. People are trying to live to the standards of other people, and they wear the cross, or they bend down for the mosque, or they bang their head on a wall, but they are not living their true life. Why give birth if you won't teach us how to give? Why take? Why always do we want to take more and more and more? We're never satisfied. We are a nation of non-satisfaction. We never have enough. We always like, if you get a good salary, I want more. You get a house, then you think of the bigger house and the garden and the car and the girls. And you have a great wife, you think of the bigger boobs. And you have a great body, and you want the six packs. We are always greedy motherfuckers. So that's it. It's not like I'm not the preacher, but I'm just telling history, guys. I'm just telling history. I'm trying to put it there. So when will we stop the bleeding? When will we start sharing? When will we stop killing? When will we start living? When will we learn from history? When will we stop repeating? When will we become a human? When will we stop? This is how the song ends. Because being a human, to my understanding, what I learned as an innocent child is that we have a mind to think. We are intelligent creatures. This is what separates us between us and animals. But I dare you to tell me if we are really not living from instinct, because we say animals, they don't think, they act on instinct, don't we? That's my question.
We do the same. If we think about it, we do the same.
Yeah.
So you're telling at least someone who's listening, just think about it. Maybe you're doing the same.
Exactly. And then no metal. So this is something that I thought about when writing these lyrics. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
If you want to see change, see yourself in the mirror, right?
Yeah. So it's a philosophical approach and a philosophical kind of thought, right? You're experiencing this thought and trying to develop it, and this is kind of the summary of it, huh?
Yeah, I don't like writing lyrics about mythology and fantasy and the Romans and or chicks and getting drunk. I like to write real life stuff, and I think this is the closest home.
Well, this is what they call, you could say, the human condition. So how are we as humans in this existence? Let's go to the next track, Crematorium. Here we go.
This
I can't help but marvel at their reflection. These flowers, how omniferous. One begins, another grows. What nice creatures.
So that was Crematorium. Lot of things in the visuals. Of course, we're gonna talk about them, but let's talk about the music first. What do you have to tell us,
definitely.
Patrick?
I mean, this one takes us back to the first song. I mean, if I just heard the first song, I would imagine the whole album would be similar to this one. Anthony's on vocals, I love it. It's like very raw. Shouting is shouting all the time. I love the groove feel in this one, of course, and also the lyrics. I mean, we're back to it seems like a manifesto. Like, okay, we're protecting the earth. We want to protect nature. All of that. It's less dark than, let's say, what the second track, Saura, did. So it kind of reveals here, okay, the concept of the whole album is kind of moving towards this part. Okay, we have to think about the environment. We have to think about nature and all of that. But yeah, in general, really nice track. I loved it.
Well, musically, I enjoyed it. I think it has a kind of a slower pace than the others. Bit different in where it puts me. So I found myself shaking my head much more in the others. Visually, there's a laugh at the beginning. So creepy. And I didn't see what's funny. But I guess if you watch it again, there's a reason for the laugh. I saw for a moment something that looks like a refugee camp. I'm not sure if that's it, but that's how I understood it in that 1 second. We saw a lot about nuclear waste. We saw a place called Dust Creek, or it's the company of Dust Creek. So the nuclear center and creating this 3 kilometers of nuclear waste, of dead land, of everything's dead around. A lot of imaging on ecology, on the nature, on how we're killing everything around us. Something that I found, of course, we saw George Floyd for a second, the cop kneeling on the neck, a bit back to human nature and torture and abuse of position. You see this kind of rich guy in the limousine abusing his position, and somehow like a devil doing his deed, kind of the other face reflecting on the glass there. Something I found interesting, I really need to ask Anthony about it. The evil people, they are blondes. What's with the blonde hair?
What do you think?
Dutch?
No.
I'm joking, of course.
No. But throughout history, whether you like it or not,
Yes.
the white man was a privileged man.
Mm-hmm.
We pass as white, all three of us. We can pass for white. We can pass for Italian. We can pass for Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand, but we have a privilege. Even if we are Lebanese, even if some people think we are Arabs, we still have a privilege. Imagine
Mm-hmm.
a Muslim veiled brown woman walking in the streets of some countries. How she stared at, imagine a big black bearded brown guy walking in the street at 9 p.m. and how people move pavements just because
They automatically assume it's a criminal, it's a threat, it's a...
So history has taught us that the blonde rich man is a nice man, but history has told me that the rich are not always the nicest, and the people in power are not always the nicest. So just a small reminder, like, let's not... Looks are deceiving. That's one. And the stuff that you mentioned, everything is there. Yes, it is there. But again, not to help people interpret what they need to interpret. But I want to comment on Patrick. Because Patrick said, the concept has changed. We need to think of the planet and save the earth and the animals. Just for 1 second, think about it. We are just a moment in time. The earth was there and will always be there. You are not protecting the earth. The earth doesn't give a fuck. The earth will survive an ice age in volcanoes. It survived when asteroids hit it. The earth is and will be until the sun explodes. You are protecting yourself. You are protecting your own species. When you think about nature, this is a claim that we are thinking about nature. We are preserving nature. We are preserving nature so that we are able to live in an inhabitable world. So when I'm talking about, like, I'm saying the news, scientists, protesters, and children have warned us of climate change. So yes, they did, but we did nothing about it. And look what's happening today. And a lot of people are still in denial. So I say, before the flooding, I say poor countries are flooding. I never thought in my mind that Germany, Netherlands, and Luxembourg will be flooding. I knew China will, I knew Liberia will, but I didn't think that here, the western of Europe, will be flooding because of rain. It never happened before, rarely, maybe once or twice from the ocean, but from the rivers, very rare.
Yes.
Droughts, famine, twisters, and fires fill the earth. And this is real. I'm not like a prophet, but this is, again, as I said before, I'm really telling the truth. I'm telling history. I'm telling the news. I'm not saying anything else. I'm not being a smart ass. I'm not saying philosophy. I'm just reading the news. This is our doing. This is mass extinction, an overpopulated earth with no control. The world riches are with the few and the rest are barely surviving. Fat bank accounts, fat people, fat tax collectors, fat debtors, and on the other hand, poverty is spreading. Most living things are vanishing. World sea level is rising. The clock is ticking. No turning back. The earth is not forgiving. We are not protecting the earth. The earth is not forgiving. It started eradicating. What it is eradicating? It's eradicating the virus. Just like we try to eradicate COVID,
we are the virus.
Is noticing that we are the virus. And this song, just since I'm giving references for Lab Metal, this song, I thought not of Michael Jackson. I was thinking of Matrix, of the agent.
Trying to...
You remember that scene when he's... what's his name?
That's Morpheus, yeah. Morpheus.
When Morpheus is stuck in the building and he is put his hand on his face and he tells you, you humans, you remind me of a living something. You are the virus. That stayed with me. This is why I love Matrix. It's a long thing, but I love it. I love that passage. And this inspired these lyrics.
Yeah, so you're telling us not to think about this existence from the human's perspective. If you think from the Earth's perspective, we're nothing, we're the problem, and we should be gone eventually.
No, I'm saying we should respect the Earth. We should respect its resources because we are lucky to be here. We are just like a dot in this universe. We are powerless and insignificant. The world does not revolve around us We are part of this world, and the world is part of us. If we want to stay here, we need to respect it. We need to stop thinking of ourselves, and we need to start thinking of how we can live in harmony with this world. I'm not saying we are shit. I'm saying we are treating ourselves as shit. And we go back to, are we really intelligent creatures? Okay. Agent Smith says, I'd like to share a revelation during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with surroundings environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. I love that.
Yeah, I can see the connection there. Yeah. So Matrix actually had a lot of thoughts, right? A lot of thinking about, again, human nature and how we see ourselves and how we are seen. That's quite interesting.
1999, huh?
Yeah, quite interesting. Well, but it's echoing now in 2021, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the 7th track, and that's my favorite track on this release, visually and audio and lyrics, and that's "The World Is Sick and Dying."
Killing
So here, I'll leave Patrick talk about the music. I have a bit to add about the music, and then I'll
Yeah.
talk about the visual. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can imagine why it's your favorite track, Rami. It's really nice. I mean, I love the Middle Eastern vibe. I think like if you just shared the song with me and you told me, okay, guess where this band is from, I would say somewhere in the Middle East. I mean, it's really nice. I like the violin. I like the symphonic aspect, and also that hook. I mean, yeah, that's really the highlight maybe so far of the album for me. Besides Saura, which is more, let's say, personal, and we can relate to it more. But this one is definitely could also have been maybe the first song. I don't know, or let's say the single from the album or something like that. It's so catchy.
Yeah, that's a track I would love to see live, like with a band on stage and go crazy. And the lyrics, for me, it's in my head. It's been in my head since the release, and I did watch this more than once, and I did listen to this more than once. I have to say I'm a big sucker for the pinch harmonics on the guitar. So this opening, the harmonics on the guitar, I love those. So this like always, I don't know, it's implanted in my brain. I keep listening to the melody, and then comes the violin with that, and with the background sound. Just for me, that was amazing. And as I said, it's my favorite track. Visually speaking, we connected to what we were talking about a minute ago, and this track clearly says we are the parasite, we are the cancer, we are the disease, we are the virus, right, in a way. And we see what I thought first was Ente, but then it's the devil. I'm not sure if Ente turned into a devil, I don't think so. But we see the evil character, the main evil. We see a lot of the characters we saw before, right? The blonde guy, the blonde kid, who I didn't want to say before, but now in this last scene looks more like the little Donald Trump. What I wanted to add to this is we also saw that this evil is, since the beginning, we have the African queen, then later we have the pharaohs, and something added to that we see here first is this pantheon, this new huge marble thing, but now instead of religious marble thing, it has the dollar sign, the euro sign, the yen sign. So we are now like in the money religion, the religion of wealth and money and greed. And I just noticed also the ring that this blonde guy is wearing is the same ring that the woman who grew up is wearing, and it seems this is like this gold, the creed, and this is the cult. If you join the cult of money, you have this golden ring and you bleed for it. There's also a lot in it, a lot to say. We see Mad Kings at the end, heads being chopped by this evil passing through. Imagery is for me also amazing. We see the crown in the dust, and then they pick it up, the new king, the king of nothing, more or less. I love it. So I don't know what to ask Anthony about it, but I don't know. Just tell me what you have to tell me, Anthony.
No, first of all, like it's really nice because I had like amazing reviews from magazines and some people reached out, but it's nice to hear you guys talking about it. This is why I do what I do. So quite impressive. Everything you said is there. The symbolism, yes, it's coming to an end. This is the track before the last. The world is sick and dying. It's discussing this fact that the world is actually sick and dying. There's a Dutch passage as well there, not Arabic, as Mike in the chat is asking, basically because, again, this song is... So the only guy who wrote lyrics on the album is Terry. He wrote 2 of the songs. He's a close friend in the Netherlands, and he did an amazing job. Musically, I wanted it to be very groovy, calmer, because it's toward the end. If you notice from Crematorium, you start having slower, groovier, more grounded songs because you're reaching the end, you want to reach a conclusion, you finish the peak of the thrill, of the adrenaline, of the cocaine line, and you're going down into this more, you're settling, you're thinking, you're sobering. So I don't want to give out things because this track is dear to my heart, but at the same time, the visuals of the track are really impressive, and it is to give an immersive experience. So I think I'm super proud of both the audible and the visual, like the audio and visual experience, because it gives you a different experience. Like I enjoy the album every time I watch it differently, although I have listened and watched it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I feel it's a first in this genre where you can have a 360 degrees experience. So yeah, I leave it to the person. The more it comes towards the end, the less I will explain, because there are so many meanings. But it's just like I leave it to you, and I love the interpretation. But I feel like I would like to hear more and more people commenting about this.
Okay, yeah, we'd love to see the comments and what the people think about the tracks and the visuals and how they see them. One small commentary that I just missed in my notes: the owl. I think when you see the big eyes of an owl, as far as I know, owl is supposed to represent the keeper of time or the watcher of time. So the owl is also kind of the observer of this entire generation after generation, king after king, the same history repeating. So the owl is there to watch. I won't add to this. There's a lot more. Let's go to the final track, which strangely,
I hope that people will watch it again and again, because every time there's a small element. I like the fact that you did the research and you are noticing these things, but trust me, there are so many
There's
things
more.
hidden. This work has taken a lot of effort. And really, the Dronican film guys are amazing artists, but the thought process to make it happen, I mean, doing an album cost a lot of money, musically only. Just to practice, record, mix, master, do the artwork that is behind me by Charles Assef, the Lebanese digital artist, which inspired a lot. So this is Ante, if you see him in the middle. Ante is in the middle, and all the elements you see them are in the movie. I did the concept of every single circle and the person in the middle, but Charles really translated this into imagery, and we took this and made it into a movie. So just doing that costs a lot of time and takes a lot of money. And then you need to do a movie. Trust me, it's a huge investment.
yeah,
That you have to be really insane to do this. But I think, not clinically, but I can tell you, I'm
You're
not a
insane
normal
enough.
person. Yeah, I'm insane enough to do this.
yeah.
But it took a lot of time and effort to realize it.
I think we could maybe on our own make later not an online thing but an offline thing as a Easter eggs and hidden messages in this movie, and we'll have more than 1,000. So that will be another like long video. So it's not gonna be a live. We'll like go and investigate every second, every frame of this video. To close, let's go to the last track on the album. We Are Death Tribe. I saw this track described as the Doom track. I don't know if I would put it as so. Let's listen to the track. So that is the closing track. I think in the end there's the credits. I'll maybe let them run muted and talk about the last track. So, Patrick, what do you want to say about the music?
It's definitely the most melodic one. I can hear some melodic, let's say, death groove. But the one thing that it's some parts of the album had this as well, just the phrasing, the vocal phrasing of the lyrics. Sometimes it feels like, okay, maybe it's difficult to sing along to, or like to maybe, have it stick in your head. At least this one has, the hook as well. We are Death Tribe. Like, okay, you can sing along that. But sometimes it feels like the phrasing was overcomplicated, if I can just criticize one thing about that.
Okay. From my perspective, musically, there is actually in the vocabulary, there is one word that you cannot stress too much when you're pronouncing the word fat, F-A-T. I can only say fat. There's a very fat bass, and I love it. The very fat sound of the bass. It's in my ears. It's sitting there. It's a bit in front. The music, the melody on the guitars is coming back, moving and coming back. I like it. To the imagery, bit with the sound, we see here there's a bullet flying to the head of one of the soldiers, and this bullet is given its own sound. So we hear this chirp of a bullet going through the skull. It kind of like surprises you for a second, like you don't expect to hear the bullet, but it gives you a bit of the feel of what's happening, or what is the guy hearing when a bullet crosses his brain a second before he's gone. Besides that, we saw the seed that we saw at the beginning was Ente. He was planting that seed, which could say planting life. And we see the character swallowing that seed that changed him and gave him, it looks like, the power to get rid of some of the evil. The tent in the park that had the rose on it is gone. The king that was crowned was dethroned and the crown taken with blood. It's in the van. The main character is traveling. He did some change. I don't know how much, but he was able to do some change. And we see maybe Ente, but for me it doesn't look again like Ente, but the creator starting life again. So somehow it's like what Anthony was trying to tell us, that there should be some restart. It looks like a restart that the main character is involved in. Is it part of what you're trying to say, Anthony, or leave it to interpretation?
No, it is part of what I'm trying to say. And in the credits that you didn't see, I wrote the quote of what I'm trying to actually leave people with. And it says, remember that every decision that you make shifts the balance between corruption and justice. Be the change you want to see in the world. Protect all life, respect all resources. You are the king of your own life. Lead and inspire. So yes, you might be ripped off choices. You might be powerless, but I'm a living proof. You are a living proof. Many people are a living proof that we can be born in a certain situation and we can get out of it and make a difference. Not to say that we are going on the right path, but at least we are trying. We are trying to make a difference. And this is what the main character is doing. The main character is trying to dethrone, to change habits, to influence at least one person, to just think about it, to just discuss it. If this movie sparks a conversation about different topics like the one we are having today, it's more than enough for me to feel like it's worth doing it. Although it took more than 2 years in the making, a huge fortune after we have lost all our money in Lebanon. It was really tough to create this. But having said that, yeah, it is. I hope it gives the right ending to this journey, where we are saying like, we are Death Tribe. If the world cannot change, we are the sick ones that can make this change. Mm-hmm. So usually metalheads and the revolution and the revolting people and the misfits and the rebels are frowned upon. But I think we need to be the change that the world needs to see. Because without us, then who are we counting on to make this change? I mean, we need to really start walking the walk and not only talking the talk. I see a lot of bands and a lot of people shouting things, saying things, and behind closed doors, they go and do the ugliest things. From the smallest things to the biggest, from voting to religious leaders to manipulating. Let's not go into those things, but I mean, yeah, like from treating women with respect, let's say, to doing the wrong things. You have to really be accountable for your own choices, and this is what the whole journey is all about.
So I would say practice what you preach is one thing, and
Yeah,
when it
definitely.
comes to the metalheads, something we mentioned a second ago, if you said that most of us eventually end up just following their nature, their instinct, and following the stream or the mainstream. If you could say metalheads are not as much followers of the mainstream, that means we could have a bit more freedom to break away and make the change rather than follow and do what everyone is doing.
I mean, hopefully, but the problem is that even in the metal scene, you have a mainstream that is just acting like without thinking.
Yeah.
So now metal somehow has become let's go get drunk and get stoned, and I don't want to take a college degree, and I don't want to work, and fuck everything, and I want to break glasses and be a rebel. But this is not the revolution we want.
Yeah.
We don't want you to be an asshole, and we don't want you to be a hobo. We want you to be an intellectual that can change the world and speak about what is right. And this is what metal was all about. When our forming fathers of metal started, they were revolting against the wrong in the world. They were shouting about injustices. This is why they wear their long hair and their leather and their badass look, because they wanted to break the norm and the attention to shout out ideas to correct what is wrong in this world. But unfortunately, a lot of metal today is worse than like other areas. So metal is a vehicle that you could use. It doesn't need to be metal. It can be any form of music or art or even books. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really proud of the whole metal scene, let's say.
Yeah, so in any community, in any group, there are things that can be done better, can be dealt with better. Patrick has left a poll on the live asking the viewers to rate the album. So Patrick, you can tell us a bit on that, and we promise to have some maybe Q&A if the people watching have some questions for you, Anthony. I think Patrick could check and ask us the questions, but first tell us about the poll.
Yeah. So the poll, we can only give 4 options basically. So we got 62% gave it 10, which is pretty good. 38% gave it between 7 and 9, and I would be one of those between 7 and 9. I think as a first listen, an 8, but I think it could go up for me. I mean, it's definitely, it has complexity, so you have to listen to it more. And one point that I said to Anthony also, that for me, when I watch something with this amount of complexity in the visuals, so you have to follow also the visuals, I try to also, I want to focus on the music, or I want to focus more on the visual, right? So sometimes I lose some aspects from the video while I'm focusing on the music itself. So yeah, I think if I listen to the album, just the music, it could go up probably to 9.
Well, from my side, I've listened to it on Spotify, I think at least 20 times already. And on Spotify, it is a 9 for me, at least. And I would give a 10 for my favorite track, easily. So that's a track I will definitely be coming back to. And that track will drag me back to the whole album every time. And I enjoyed the entire album. Let's go to the questions. Did you assemble some questions that you'd like or our viewers want to ask, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, we answered most of the questions, but also Joe was saying that the last track feels more like it to be continued. I mean, we're going to ask Anthony, like, is there more experiments? Are you going to create more, or is it maybe financially too difficult at this point? So we're going to give it some years. So for the next one.
No, you won't wait for years. The follow-up album is in the making. Some different members are there already working on the music. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's a journey. I don't make music to sound like something. I make music like it feels in the moment. I like metal, so it will be metal, hopefully. But what I can say is that I'm working on something, and it is sounding very satisfying so far. It feels like a continuity. What I have so far, it's not a complete album, of course. A couple of songs, but the ideas are more like the second half of the album rather than the first half of the album. Um, Quite indecisive of when it will be put on full force, because in between this and that, I finished the upcoming Kaoteon album and working on the visuals now. 11 tracks, 47 minutes, with amazing artists. So that will come out first. But of course, Kaoteon is totally different concept and totally different even. Let's put it in that way. It deals with different topics. Yeah, a lot is coming, and in the credits, the music of the credits is actually mine as well. It's you will hear it, the full song as well soon. So a lot of stuff coming.
We have Joe asking any unreleased tracks that you wrote while working on the lore concept.
No, this one is not for the album. The one in the credits is from my acoustic project. I have one song out. I like sometimes to do acoustic music that has no metal at all. Again, I'm a performer. I'm not a vocalist, whether in metal or in non-metal music. So I like to write things and discuss them and spill my soul into them. So yeah, you can check it out. It's called Anthony Kaoteon, my original name. And you can find it online. So this is the second track that will see the light soon. It was recorded with the first track, but I didn't release it at the same time. Any unreleased track that you wrote while working on the lore or concept? Yes and no. I usually try to write the whole thing. So I reserve a chunk, a period of time, and I write the whole thing together, so that I am especially for Death Tribe, so that I am in the zone and write as a concept album, especially for this one. Whatever I didn't put in the album, I just don't use anymore, because again, as I said, I don't like to bezzi elezzi. I don't like to just take a riff, it sounds good, and then try to fit it somewhere. So I like the work to flow. And the new album, this is what I did. So I have all the basic ideas for 7 tracks already. I might need another session because I feel that they're not long enough. This one is 36 minutes. So I want the next one to be almost the same length. I don't like the album to be less than 30 minutes. We'll always try to be. But I might release them as singles to manage the financials as well. So yeah, thinking about the next steps, little by little.
I have a question also.
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, so for the viewers who are not so familiar with the Lebanese metal scene, I mean, we have other bands such as Amedius Awad, Ostura. They have also worked with international musicians, right? And in all their music, it's always, you feel like they try to give a spotlight to these artists, right? So let's say a solo here, or a nice vocal part here. For you working with these artists on the album, did you feel like they were kind of more like sessionists, or did they have their own like creative, let's say, room? Did you tell them, okay, you can, give me ideas here, how can you contribute that, so they wouldn't feel like, yeah, we're just sessionists, we're not involved in this, emotionally involved? Or
no, basically I do not like to, so I don't hire musicians to give them a stage to play. I try to work with people that I feel fit the music, and I tell them what I need, and I even re-record some ideas because I don't like what they had to offer. And again, I'm working with amazing musicians with amazing musicianship that I do not have. So basically, I'm not an academic person. These people have degrees, they play with, they have huge experience. But again, I'm doing what I'm doing from the heart. I sing, and then I would like to translate it. So when I work with musicians, I give them, of course, the freedom because they have ample of ideas. But even like with vocals, I give them the lyrics and the vocal lining. With drums, I try to give them the direction as much as possible. For example, The fills and the rolls are for them, but I try to give them the feel of the song as much as possible. And I'm the worst person to work with, honestly, because I don't know how to use any program. So basically, you would hear me on WhatsApp going, "Can you play here?" So I'm not writing on Guitar Pro or anything. Linus is an amazing friend and musician on bassist. I have worked with him since 2015 on 5 or 6 albums already. He's an amazing musician, so I trust him now to give me the bass lines. He is super good in counter melodies, or what I call counter melodies. So he knows how to harmonize, and he knows how to really add value to the song. We discuss ideas, of course, but I give him more freedom than the rest of the bunch. Yeah, and that's about that. Vocally, again, Terry wrote the 2 songs, and I trusted him with in the process because we worked together on some music as well. So we understood each other more and more. So yeah, this is how the process goes. I'm not hiring a musician because I want to. I don't even use their names a lot, if you notice. In the past, I noticed that I used to do that. I don't even do it anymore because at the end of the day, it's not their music. It's my music more. Yeah.
Maybe also another question. Do you feel like this is the best music you've put out, like including the stuff from Kaoteon? Is this your best effort so far?
It's different. You are only the sum of the things that you do. So without Kaoteon, this wouldn't have been possible, and the other way around. This has been created because it doesn't fit Kaoteon at the beginning. The first album was made because the sound doesn't fit Kaoteon. So more or less, I would say I'm super proud of this. It extended my engines of creation in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do with Kaoteon. It gave me ideas for Kaoteon. You will hear, for example, a couple of songs with violins and cellos in the upcoming Kaoteon.
Mm-hmm.
So it opened new doors for me. But I think it's not because it's not the best work I have done, but it's the work with the most knowledge that I have done, if I put it this way. So I listen to songs like Decrepitude, which is one of the earliest songs I ever released. I still think it's amazing, like how simple, but how much easy it is to stay with you with Kaoteon from the demo songs. And then you hear this, and you feel like you have evolved through time and you do things differently. I would have never liked this album when I was writing Kaoteon demo in 1999. I would have said, what the fuck is this groovy guy trying to do? I want to dance on this music. This is not metal. But it's people change, right? Like every era has a different time.
Yeah, so you mature and your taste in music evolves and your understanding and the way you listen to it changes in time, right? So even in 10 years from now, you will see this again in a different way, right?
Yeah, I believe so, absolutely. And it's not about evolution of the taste, like you grow out of it. No, I still like both, but you just like you
expanding.
Your brain expands, like you see things in a different dimension, in a different way. You understand elements more. You want to experience new experiences. You are broader. But again, I did this because Kaoteon for me cannot go to this place.
Yeah.
And Death Tribe cannot go there. Kaoteon is mystic. It's extreme. It's in your face. It deals with the dark matter. This deals with earthly matters. Oh wow, I like this. Kaoteon deals with Kaoteon deals with the dark stuff, and this deals with the earthly stuff.
So you can still add more elements, right? You can have a different project with the water and nature. Expand from there. Huh? Complete the whole bunch.
If I have time, I might.
Okay, we hope you will have time, and we hope you do go and explore other grounds also. Like it's a nice journey. Do you have any other questions, Patrick? Oh, okay.
Nope.
So I wanted to mention we already posted the link in the chat for the merch. We will post it definitely in the video description. We'll share it again wherever we share this video. You at the moment part of your merch obviously is the album. Buy the album. Also, you have a shirt, a new shirt. I guess the shirt you're wearing.
No.
Not yet at the moment.
This is a sample. It's not even in the store. This
Okay.
is for the movie.
So you'll have a shirt soon.
No, I have multiple shirts in the store. If you go to the link that is being shared, I have some shirts. I have some mugs. I have some posters. I have some leggings for ladies, tank tops. So you can dress your whole family from the merch of the band.
So
and it ships to the US and EU and other parts of the world as well.
Perfect. So anyone who enjoyed the album art, who enjoyed the themes, and who would like to support this project, who would like to support Anthony's work, please check the merch, check the store. You can also go and check the music, listen to it on all different platforms. We will share also the link for that. Support this very good project, this very well crafted, enjoyable music. Anthony, from my side, I don't have anything to add. I'd like to thank you for being our guests on this. I hope that we discovered enough of the hidden tricks that will motivate more people to dig more and find more. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to discover. Patrick,
we all have to do something about our time management. I just noticed it's been 2 hours and we decided to make it in 1 hour.
Yeah, so it's impossible, right? There's a lot to say. There's always a lot to say. But at least for me, 2 hours is still okay. It's still in the manageable range. Patrick, do you have anything to close with? That will be the closing line. Okay.
No, I feel like we're just so proud of, Lebanese metal in general. In the last years also with Kaoteon and with Anthony, it feels like, he's in his prime, let's say. He's putting out great music, and we're proud of that. Thank you.
That's a good point, Patrick. I agree. There's a lot of great releases, a lot of great music coming. We'll keep supporting that. Thank you for everyone who joined us on this live. We'll share it everywhere soon, and hope to see you on the next live.
Before you finish, just
go ahead.
Just want to say really thanks to you guys for allowing a lot of artists to have this kind of platform and share it. A lot of people think that this is not important, but this is the most important thing. Supporting bands by sharing the music, by hitting the listen button, by sharing the videos is what keeps us alive, especially in this time and age, especially bands coming from the Levant or Middle East where you don't have a lot of tours or live shows and you need to be heard. Mm-hmm. So keep doing what you are doing. Thank you for that. Thanks for everyone who is sharing and supporting. But more important than the merchandise, if you share the music, this is what makes a huge difference. So thanks a lot. Appreciated, humbled, honored. And if I ever sound cocky, I'm sorry. I'm really humbled by all the good feedback, and I respect everybody's opinion. Cheers.
Thank you. Glad to have you, Anthony, and hope soon we'll also be talking about the next Kaoteon album then. Okay.
Very soon.
Okay, so we'll end our live here. Thank you all for watching, and see you on the next live. Goodbye.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay. Live is